Captain James Miller floated near the observation window of the International Space Station, sipping his morning coffee from a sealed container. The Earth below looked peaceful as always, a blue marble wrapped in white clouds. His morning routine was simple: coffee, system checks, and watching the sunrise over Earth. But today was different. Today would change human history forever. At first, he thought his eyes were playing tricks on him. A dark shape appeared at the edge of his vision, far beyond where any human spacecraft should be. It started as a tiny dot, but within minutes it grew larger, much larger. "Houston, ISS, we have an anomaly," Miller said, his voice steady despite his racing heart. "Unknown object approaching from Sector 7. The radio crackled. "ASS, Houston. Can you describe the object?" Miller grabbed the station's best camera and pointed it toward the growing shape. As he zoomed in, his hands began to shake. The object was massive, easily larger than any spacecraft humans had ever built. Its surface gleamed with a metallic sheen that definitely wasn't human-made. "Houston, I'm sending you images now. But I can tell you this, it's not one of ours." The shape continued to grow, revealing itself to be a ship of impossible size. Its design was sleek yet powerful, with engines that glowed with an energy humanity had never seen before. Strange markings covered its hull, definitely not in any Earth language. Back on Earth, chaos erupted in every major control center. NASA, ESA, and space agencies worldwide all received Miller's images at the same time. Within minutes, the pictures reached military commands and government leaders. Emergency meetings were called. Defense systems went on high alert. The alien ship, however, seemed in no hurry. It moved with purpose but without aggression, taking up a position that kept it visible from Earth's major observatories. Then it simply waited. Hours passed. Earth's governments scrambled to form a unified response team. Military satellites, previously hidden from public knowledge, turned their sensors toward the visitor. What they found was both fascinating and terrifying. The ship's technology was beyond anything humans had imagined. Its power readings were off the charts. Scans showed it could probably destroy a small continent without much effort. Yet it just sat there, watching. Then came the scanning beams. They were invisible to the naked eye, but Earth's sensors detected them sweeping across the planet's surface. They passed through everything: oceans, mountains, even military bunkers. The alien ship was taking inventory. Inside the ship, Imperial Commander Dex studied the scanned results with growing confidence. "Just another primitive world," he told his crew. "They haven't even colonized their own moon properly. This will be an easy integration into the Empire." His second-in-command nodded in agreement. Their most advanced weapons are simple chemical explosives and basic nuclear devices. They pose no threat to Imperial forces. But they missed something important. Deep underground, in bunkers scattered across Earth, generals and scientists watched their own secret sensors light up. Technology that had been hidden for decades began to power up. Systems that officially didn't exist came online. In a deep underground facility beneath the Rocky Mountains, Admiral Thomas Reed read the latest reports with grim satisfaction. For 50 years, they had prepared for this moment. Ever since the first alien crash at Roswell, humanity had known this day would come. They had recovered technology, studied it, improved it, and kept it hidden, not just from their own people, but from watching eyes in space. "Begin Operation Silent Shield," Reed commanded. Around the world, hidden facilities acknowledged the order. Quantum computers sprang to life. Gravity generators powered up. Weapons that combined human ingenuity with reversed-engineered alien tech were made ready. The Empire thought they were scanning a primitive world. They were wrong. They were scanning a planet that had spent half a century preparing for war while pretending to be harmless. Earth's single warning would come soon enough. Up in the space station, Captain Miller continued his observations, documenting everything. He didn't know about the secret preparations, but he knew one thing: Humanity wouldn't go down without a fight. The Empire was about to learn that the hard way. Admiral Thomas Reed stood in the heart of the underground command center, his eyes fixed on the massive screen showing the alien vessel. Around him, dozens of operators worked at their stations, monitoring Earth's hidden defense systems. The room hummed with tension and the soft beeping of advanced computers. "Sir, we're receiving a transmission from the alien ship," announced Lieutenant Mary Parker, her fingers flying over her console. "They're broadcasting on all frequencies." Reed nodded. "Put it through." The main screen flickered, and an image appeared. The alien commander looked almost human, except for his metallic gray skin and entirely black eyes. He wore an elaborate uniform covered in symbols that probably showed his rank. "People of Earth," the alien spoke in perfect English, his words automatically translated by their systems. "I am Supreme Commander Dex of the Galactic Empire. Your world has been chosen for integration into our civilization." The room fell silent. This was the moment they had prepared for during the past 50 years. "You have two choices," Dex continued. "Surrender peacefully and receive the benefits of Imperial technology and protection, or resist and face immediate destruction. You have 6 Earth hours to decide." The transmission ended, leaving the command center in silence. Reed turned to his senior staff. "Well, they're right on schedule, just like the Roswell ship's data predicted." He pressed a button on his command console. "Get me the President and the Joint Chiefs. It's time for Phase 2. Within minutes, screens around the room lit up with faces of world leaders and military commanders. Each of them had been briefed years ago about this possibility. Each knew their role. "Ladies and gentlemen," Reed addressed them, "the Empire has made their move. Are we ready to show them ours?" The Chinese general spoke first. "Our underground bases in the Himalayas are fully operational. Quantum shields are at full power. Russian deep space radar arrays are tracking 3 more Imperial ships approaching from beyond Mars," added the Russian commander. "All hidden missile platforms are armed and ready." One by one, every nation reported their readiness. 50 years of secret preparation had created a web of defenses the Empire couldn't see. Hidden bases under every major mountain range housed weapons that combined Earth's best technology with reversed engineered alien systems. In his office at the Pentagon, General Mike Roberts opened a sealed folder marked Project Legacy. Inside were detailed analysis of Imperial tactics, gathered from the Roswell ship's database. "They always follow the same pattern," he explained to the others. "First contact, then demands, then a small invasion force to show their power. They think it scares planets into submission," Reed added. "But we're not like the other worlds they've conquered. We've had time to prepare." Deep under the Pacific Ocean, Dr. Linda White monitored the quantum radar network. The system, based on alien technology found in Antarctica, could track Imperial ships even in hyperspace. 3 more vessels just appeared behind Jupiter, she reported. "They're trying to surround us." Reed smiled grimly, just like the playbook said they would. "Begin powering up the gravity wells." Around Earth's orbit, hidden satellites came to life. They looked like normal communication satellites on Imperial scans, but each contained technology that could disrupt Imperial ships' gravity drives. "Sir," Lieutenant Parker called out, "the Empire is scanning us again. More detailed this time." "Let them look," Reed replied. "All they'll see is what we want them to see." In orbit, Imperial Commander Dex reviewed the scan results with satisfaction. "See, their most advanced weapons are in these primitive military bases. No energy shields, no quantum technology, not even basic gravity manipulation." His science officer nodded in agreement. "They haven't even detected our ships behind Jupiter. This will be an easy conquest." Back in the command center, Reed watched the Imperial ships move into position. Everything was going according to plan. The Empire thought they were dealing with a primitive species that would surrender at the first show of force. They were about to learn how wrong they were. "Begin recording our response," Reed ordered. "It's time to send our warning." The Empire had no idea that they weren't looking at a primitive civilization. They were looking at a planet that had spent half a century preparing for this exact moment, and Earth's response would shake the foundations of their empire. 2 hours had passed since the Empire's ultimatum. In the underground command center, Admiral Reed watched as technicians put the final touches on Earth's response. It wasn't a message of surrender. It was a warning that would make the Empire think twice about their invasion plans. "Is the transmission ready?" Reed asked. Dr. White nodded, her fingers moving across her console. "Yes, sir. We've compiled footage from every major conflict in human history, just as planned." "Begin transmission," Reed ordered. In orbit, Commander Dex was surprised when his communications officer reported an incoming message from Earth. He had expected either surrender or silence. "Put it on the main screen," he commanded, expecting to see terrified human leaders begging for mercy. Instead, the transmission began with ancient battles. Armies clashing with swords and shields, fighting with a ferocity that made even the Imperial officers pause. The images moved forward through time, showing humans developing increasingly powerful weapons. "They're showing us their warfare," Dex's second-in-command asked, confused. "But it's all so primitive." The footage continued, showing World War I trenches, soldiers fighting through mud and poison gas, never giving up. Then World War II, with massive tank battles and cities rebuilt from ashes. The Korean War, the Vietnam War, each conflict showing humanity's determination to fight against all odds. "Notice something?" Reed asked his staff as they watched the transmission. "We're not just showing them our weapons. We're showing them that we never stop fighting, never stop improving our ways of war." The footage reached the modern era, showing smart bombs, stealth aircraft, and precision strikes. But then it showed something else, something the Empire didn't expect. Hidden test footage of weapons they weren't supposed to have. A missile that could change direction at impossible speeds, using gravity manipulation. A tank firing a weapon that created a small black hole. Soldiers wearing powered armor that looked suspiciously like Imperial designs. In his ship, Dex leaned forward, his black eyes widening. "How do they have this technology? Our scans showed nothing like this." The transmission continued. Underground bases that Imperial scans had missed opened their doors, revealing rows of aircraft built with reversed-engineered alien technology. Orbital platforms cloaked from Imperial sensors decloaked briefly, showing weapons pointed at the Empire's ships. "Sir," Dex's science officer reported, his voice shaking, "we're detecting energy signatures that shouldn't be possible with their level of technology. They've been hiding their true capabilities." The transmission ended with a simple message, written in both English and the Imperial language. "We've spent our entire history fighting ourselves. Don't make us fight you." In the command center, Reed watched the Imperial ships' reactions through their quantum sensors. The ships were moving, adjusting their positions, suddenly less certain about their superior position. "Message sent," Lieutenant Parker reported. "They've received it in full." "Now we wait," Reed said. "Let them think about what they just saw." On the Imperial flagship, Dex replayed parts of the transmission. Each viewing revealed new details that worried him more. These humans hadn't just been fighting wars, they had been preparing for this moment. Every conflict had pushed their technology forward. Every battle had taught them new ways to fight. "Send this to Imperial Command," Dex ordered. "We need to reassess our invasion plans." But Reed and his team already knew what would happen next. The Roswell ships database had told them exactly how the Empire would react. They would assume the footage was exaggerated. They would launch their small invasion force, thinking it would be enough to overwhelm Earth's defenses. "Prepare all defense systems," Reed commanded. "They won't believe our warning. Not yet, but they'll learn." Around the world, hidden facilities acknowledged the order. Weapons powered up. Soldiers took their positions. Earth's trap was set, and the Empire was about to walk right into it. The real war was about to begin, and humanity was more than ready. 3 days after Earth's warning message, The Empire made its move. 1,000 ships appeared in perfect formation around Earth's orbit. They filled the sky like artificial stars, their weapons charged and ready. In the underground command center, Admiral Reed watched them arrive exactly as predicted. "Right on schedule," he said calmly, "just like the Roswell data said they would." "Sir," Lieutenant Parker called out, "they're broadcasting again." Commander Dex's face appeared on the main screen. He looked confident, almost amused. "Your warning was impressive, humans, but the Empire has conquered 1,000 worlds. Your hidden weapons cannot save you. This is your final chance to surrender." Reed pressed a button on his command console. "All stations, execute Operation Thunderbolt." Around the world, things began to happen. In the depths of the oceans, massive doors opened in the seafloor. From the hearts of mountains, hidden hangar doors split apart. In orbit, hundreds of satellites that had appeared dead or inactive suddenly came to life. "What's this?" Dex demanded, watching his sensors light up with new contacts. Where did these come from? The first wave of Earth's defense began. From the ocean depths, quantum-tipped missiles shot upward, their trails looking like glowing blue lines reaching for the stars. The Empire's ships fired their point defense weapons, expecting to easily destroy such primitive weapons. They were wrong. The missiles shifted in and out of quantum space, impossible to track or hit. Imperial shields, designed to stop energy weapons, couldn't block weapons that partially existed in another dimension. 20 Empire ships disappeared in balls of quantum fire. "Impossible," Dex shouted. "These primitives can't have quantum weapons." But Earth wasn't done. The mountain bases revealed their secrets next. Gravity pulse cannons, built from stolen Empire technology and improved by human engineers, fired their first shots. The beams were invisible, but their effects were not. Imperial ships found themselves crushed by artificial gravity fields or torn apart by sudden changes in local spacetime. "Second wave, launch now," Reed commanded. From hidden bases around the world, Earth's own ships took to the sky. They were smaller than Imperial vessels, but packed with surprises. 50 years of preparing for this fight had taught humans how to build weapons the Empire had never imagined. "Sir," an Imperial officer shouted to Dex, "these human ships, they're using technology we've never seen before. They've combined our gravity drives with something else, something new." He was right. Human engineers had taken the basic principles of Imperial technology and pushed them in new directions. Why use just gravity drives when you could combine them with nuclear fusion? Why build standard shields when you could create ones that adapted to enemy weapons? The battle turned into chaos for the Empire. Their neat formation broke apart as they tried to deal with attacks coming from directions they hadn't thought possible. Earth's gravity weapons created zones where their ships couldn't maneuver properly. Quantum missiles bypassed their strongest defenses. "This is impossible," Dex muttered, watching his mighty fleet fall into disarray. They were supposed to be primitives. They were supposed to be easy to conquer. In the command center, Reed allowed himself a small smile. "Launch the EMP devices," he ordered. Specially designed satellites activated, sending out pulses that scrambled Imperial communications. The 1,000 ships that had arrived as a perfect fighting force now couldn't even talk to each other. "Sir," Lieutenant Parker reported, 300 enemy ships destroyed, 200 disabled. The rest are falling back to regroup." Reed nodded. "Send the message we prepared." A new transmission went out to the Imperial fleet. It was short and simple. "This was just our first line of defense. Do you really want to see what else we've prepared?" The Empire had made a terrible mistake. They had judged Earth by its surface appearance, never imagining that beneath that primitive exterior lay 50 years of preparation and innovation. Now they faced a choice: retreat and admit defeat, or continue fighting and learn just how many more surprises Earth had waiting. The Imperial War Council gathered in their emergency chamber on their capital ship, now hiding behind Jupiter's largest moon. Holograms of their highest-ranking commanders filled the room, all of them struggling to understand how their perfect invasion had gone so wrong. Commander Dex stood before them, his metallic skin dulled with exhaustion. In 6 hours of battle, we lost more ships than in our last 10 planetary conquests combined. The Imperial High Command was silent. Such a defeat was unheard of in their 1,000 years of expansion. "Show us their weapons again," ordered the Supreme Commander, his black eyes narrowing as he watched the battle recordings. A hologram displayed Earth's defense systems in action. Quantum missiles phasing through the best Imperial shields. Gravity weapons that shouldn't exist on such a young world. Ships that combined Imperial technology with human innovations in ways the Empire had never considered. How? The Supreme Commander demanded. How did they get this technology? A human prisoner was brought before the Council, a captured pilot named John Cooper. Unlike most conquered species, he showed no fear before the Imperial leaders. "Your ships aren't as perfect as you think," Cooper said with a grim smile. "Sometimes they crash. Sometimes we find them. And sometimes we learn from them." The council members looked at each other in shock. Then Cooper continued, "Roswell wasn't our first crashed ship, or our last. Each one taught us something new." In the underground command center on Earth, Admiral Reed watched the meeting through hidden quantum sensors they had planted on the captured pilot. Everything was going according to plan. "Every war we fought," Cooper explained to the stunned council, "every weapon we created was practice for this moment. World War II gave us radar and jets. The Cold War gave us space technology and computers. But those crashed ships, they showed us what was possible." The Supreme Commander leaned forward. "Impossible. Our scans showed primitive weapons, basic spaceflight." Cooper laughed. "That's what we wanted you to see. Did you really think we'd keep our best weapons where your scans could find them? We've been hiding them for 50 years. Under mountains, under oceans, even in plain sight, disguised as something else." On Earth, Dr. White worked at her console, monitoring the Empire's reactions through their quantum network. "They're accessing their historical records, sir," she reported to Reed, "looking for patterns they missed." The Imperial records told a shocking story. Earth had been different from other conquered worlds. Other planets focused on peace after achieving spaceflight. Earth kept preparing for war. Other worlds developed technology in predictable ways. Earth's progress had been chaotic, driven by constant conflict and competition. "Sir," Lieutenant Parker called out, "the Empire is sending urgent messages to their home world. They're requesting their entire battle fleet." Reed nodded. This too had been predicted. "Send the second message." In the Imperial Council chamber, a new transmission appeared. It showed more of Earth's hidden capabilities. Shipyards built inside hollow mountains, weapons testing facilities under the oceans, and armies of soldiers trained to use technology the Empire thought impossible for humans to have. "You see," Cooper told them, "we didn't just copy your technology. We improved it. 50 years of human innovation, driven by the one thing our species does better than anyone else, preparing for war." The Supreme Commander's face showed real fear for the first time. "One planet," he muttered. "One primitive planet has done what entire star systems could not." The council chamber erupted in argument. Some wanted to retreat. Others demanded they send their entire fleet to crush Earth immediately. But Cooper's words hung in the air. Humans didn't just copy technology. They improved it. The Empire had thought they were invading a primitive world. Instead, they had awakened a sleeping giant, one that had spent half a century preparing for this exact moment. And Earth was just getting started. Admiral Reed stood in Earth's command center, watching as hundreds of ships emerged from hidden bases around the planet. They were smaller than Imperial vessels, but packed with technology that combined human innovation with stolen alien science. The time for defense was over. Now Earth would show the Empire its true power. "All ships report ready, sir," Lieutenant Parker announced. "Operation Hammer is go." Reed nodded. "Begin the attack. Show them what humanity can really do." The Earth fleet moved with perfect coordination. Unlike the rigid formations of the Empire, Earth's ships flew in fluid patterns that seemed chaotic but were carefully planned. Each ship captain had trained for years for this moment. Behind Jupiter, the Imperial fleet was still regrouping after their devastating losses. Commander Dex watched his sensors with growing alarm as the human fleet approached. "They're attacking us," he asked in disbelief. "These primitives dare to attack the Empire." The first wave of Earth's attack showed exactly what these primitives could do. Human ships suddenly appeared inside the Imperial formation, using improved versions of the Empire's own teleportation technology. But where Imperial ships could only teleport short distances, humans had found a way to make longer jumps. "How are they doing this?" an Imperial officer shouted as human ships blinked in and out of existence, firing weapons from impossible angles. The human ships carried weapons the Empire had never seen before. Some fired beams that turned Imperial shields against their own ships. Others launched swarms of tiny drones that could eat through Imperial hull metal like acid through paper. "Sir," Lieutenant Parker called out to Reed, "Imperial fleet is breaking formation. They don't know how to counter our attack patterns." Earth's soldiers showed their worth too. Special forces teams in advanced combat suits teleported directly onto Imperial ships. These suits, reverse-engineered from crashed Imperial scout ships and improved by human engineers, let them walk through walls and ignore artificial gravity. In the Imperial flagship, alarms blared as human forces appeared in critical areas. The Imperial troops found themselves fighting an enemy that had studied their tactics for 50 years and knew exactly how to counter them. Their weapons. Dex watched in horror as another of his ships exploded. "They're using our own technology against us, but better than we ever could." He was right. Humans had taken Imperial gravity weapons and combined them with nuclear physics to create gravity bombs that could crush entire ships. They had studied Imperial shield technology and found ways to bypass it completely. "Sir," Dr. White reported to Reed, "the Empire's trying to call for reinforcements. Their quantum communications are being blocked by our jammers." Reed allowed himself a small smile. The jammers were another example of human innovation. Devices that could block even the Empire's most secure communications by creating controlled quantum interference patterns. The battle turned into a complete rout. Imperial ships, designed for fighting enemies who used predictable tactics, couldn't handle Earth's constantly changing attack patterns. Human forces seemed to be everywhere at once, using improved versions of Imperial technology in ways the Empire had never imagined. "Status report," Reed commanded. "Enemy fleet is in full retreat, sir," Parker responded. 40% of their ships destroyed, 30% heavily damaged. The rest are trying to escape, but our gravity nets are holding them in place." In his flagship, Commander Dex faced a horrible realization. The Empire hadn't just underestimated Earth's defenses, they had completely misjudged humanity's offensive capabilities. These humans hadn't just prepared to defend themselves, they had prepared to take the fight to the Empire itself. "Send the message," Reed ordered. All across the battlefield, Imperial ships received a transmission. "This was just our first attack fleet. We have more ships coming, more weapons you haven't seen yet. You can retreat now, or learn what else we've prepared for you." The Empire had started this war thinking they were the teachers, coming to show a primitive world its place in the galaxy. Instead, they had become the students, learning a harsh lesson about underestimating humanity. The Imperial Supreme Council gathered in their grand chamber on their home world. The massive room was unusually quiet as they watched recordings of their fleet's defeat at Earth. For the first time in 1,000 years, the Empire had not just failed to conquer a world, they had been decisively beaten. "The humans send a new message," announced the council leader, his voice heavy. "They request a meeting. Not for surrender, but for peace talks." Commander Dex, now the Empire's leading expert on Earth, stepped forward. "We should accept. There's something you need to see first." He played a new recording. It showed Earth's hidden shipyards, now revealed by their own choice. Hundreds of new vessels were under construction, each incorporating improvements to Imperial technology that even their best engineers hadn't considered. "They're not building a defense force," Dex explained. "They're building an invasion fleet." The council chamber erupted in concerned whispers. One member stood up. "Impossible. They're just one planet. A planet that beat our best fleet," Dex reminded them. "A planet that spent 50 years preparing for war while making us think they were primitive. And now," he paused, letting his words sink in, "now they know they can beat us." On Earth, Admiral Reed sat in a new command center, this one built above ground. There was no need to hide anymore. On screens around him, Earth's military power was on full display. Ships patrolled openly, using their advanced technology for all to see. "The Empire has accepted our invitation," Lieutenant Parker reported. "They're sending their top diplomats." Reed nodded. "Good. Show them our latest project." The main screen displayed a massive construction in orbit. It was a jump gate, built using improved Imperial technology. But where Imperial gates could only reach nearby systems, Earth's version could send ships 10 times farther. "Sir," Dr. White called out, "Imperial sensors are scanning the gate. They're scientists. They seem very interested in our improvements." "Of course they are," Reed smiled. "That's exactly what we wanted." The peace conference was held in a neutral location, a space station built halfway between Earth and Imperial space. The station itself showed Earth's new power. It used technology the Empire thought impossible to combine. John Cooper, the captured pilot who had first revealed Earth's true nature to the Empire, now sat at the negotiating table as Earth's ambassador. Across from him sat the Imperial Supreme Commander himself. "You could have kept building in secret," the Supreme Commander said. "Why reveal everything now?" Cooper's answer was simple. "Because humanity doesn't want an endless war. We want peace, but peace between equals, not master and slave." He laid out Earth's terms: recognition as an independent power, free trade of technology, and a defense pact. In return, Earth would share their improvements on Imperial technology. "Your weapons could devastate our empire," the Supreme Commander noted. "Yes," Cooper agreed. "And your weapons could devastate Earth. So maybe it's better to be allies than enemies." The Empire had come to Earth expecting to find another primitive world to conquer. Instead, they found something unprecedented. A civilization that had spent half a century preparing for war while praying for peace. In the end, the Empire signed the treaty. They had no choice. Earth had proven it could fight them to a standstill, or worse. But more importantly, Earth had shown them something new: the value of an ally who could make their technology better. Admiral Reed stood at his window, watching Earth's new ships practice alongside Imperial vessels. "Send the final message to all our forces," he ordered. The message was brief. The war that never had to happen is over. Now the real work begins, teaching the galaxy that humanity works better as a friend than an enemy. The Empire had tried to make Earth bow. Instead, they learned a lesson that would change the galaxy forever. Sometimes the best worlds to find aren't the ones you can conquer, but the ones who can teach you how to be better.